What does it mean to be human? Let's explore this concept with Blade Runner. We're Nerdazons! Okay, so this month was my pick, and we're doing Blade Runner, the original, compared, or I guess you can't really compare it because it's a sequel to Blade Runner 2049.
A delayed sequel.
A very delayed sequel.
Mm-hmm.
And we have some special guests.
We've got Luke and Hannah from the podcast Save File.
Hello, how are you guys?
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Awesome, hey.
So do you want to tell everyone a little bit about your podcast and how they can listen to you guys, what you guys talk about, things like that?
Well, Save File's a little spin-off from Multiple Nerdgasm, and pretty much you can find us wherever you get your podcast from, which I don't know the science behind it. Matt does the magic behind that. But Save File, I decided to start off a little spin-off podcast with me and my lovely wife Hannah, where we talk mostly about games, and then I get upset about things.
That's
and try
pretty
to
much it.
mansplain something.
Not mansplaining, I'm Luke-splaining. There's a difference.
I don't know if it's better
I
or
like to say
worse.
Neither do I.
So I guess we'll get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start with the original Blade Runner. Just a quick cap of the synopsis. It is about a Blade Runner called Deckard, and he is forced by the police boss to continue his old job as a replicant hunter. His assignment is to eliminate 4 escaped replicants from the colonies who have returned to Earth. So I want to hear what you have to say, because you've already pre-told me and I'm really frustrated.
I didn't like it.
You're actually not alone there. This was actually, at the time, a flop when it came out.
Yes, it was. It took a while to get a cult following for this film, but I actually appreciate it more now as I'm older, because I had to watch it at school and study it and I hated it, but now I love it.
Well, I actually found that, because this is a movie I grew up on, and I loved from when I first saw it as a child, and there's been many different edits over the years, but we watched it again last night to prepare for this, and I actually saw it with different eyes this time, and I actually appreciate it in different ways now.
Yeah, and I feel like this is a movie, the more you delve into it, you're lost in this there's so much to learn, and you can watch it so many times and you'll always come out with a different opinion.
And I think
this was my first time watching it.
Well, you need to rewatch it.
Yeah. And I think this is why it was a flop at the movies, is because it's not a movie you can just watch once and then experience it. It's something you need to rewatch over and over, and I think that's why it found life after the theatre release.
Yeah.
You see,
very much agree.
it was also my very first time watching it, and I'm in the camp that I don't really want to watch it again.
I'm Hannah.
Oh, no, wrong.
Okay.
No, but it's all good.
No,
I
'cause,
would like that first
So I come from the perspective of I had read the Philip K. Dick books and short
Right.
stories that underpin that universe first. So I was pretty aware of, like the themes and some of the plot points and the whole what does it mean to be human kind of element. And watching the film, visually stunning, very immersive.
Yeah.
Loved that part. Just in terms of story, just didn't hook me in.
It is very slow.
Yeah, I actually think the second one is a little bit like that as well, but I'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Well, the first one took me a while to watch because Australian internet shit, and it kept buffering all the time, and that's probably why my experience wasn't very good, because it'd pause, I'd have to go out and make a cup of tea or whatever and wait for it to rebuffer. But I kind of lost it, and also it was hokey and camp.
What? Hokey and
No, I
camp?
did not think that.
No.
I think you're very wrong.
Yeah. Here's my point. When I don't know their names, when the one is running and she's got the raincoat on,
Yes.
you can clearly see that it's swapped into whoever wants to do it, and then they hit the wall and you're like, it's just a dude with a wig on.
Okay.
And then when...
Yeah, but you got to think, right? This was done in the 80s,
Yeah.
and you have a full scene where someone is actually smashing through glass.
You're not glass, it's sugar wall.
Whatever.
But you also have to understand,
It's
this is...
smashing through something. It's still a stunt that somebody has to do.
And it's also
And to-
back in a time where people... now you rewatch things over and over and over. Back then, you would watch this once at the movies, you'd then maybe see on television a year and a half later, and then you might get a VHS copy of it a year after that. It wasn't something now where you rewatch a scene over and over and over. So you have to forgive movies from back then because of just the time.
I actually appreciate movies more in the 80s because I feel like they're so much more creative. You know, they didn't have great CGI.
No.
And they had to physically make sets. They had to physically do all the special effects and things through makeup. And I appreciate that so much more. They put more effort in.
Yeah.
Which is arguably why some of your classic horror movies just have that much more impact.
Yeah.
Because it's real.
Yes,
Not...
especially watching like Suspiria, which we did a few episodes ago. That was a great classic.
Yeah, 100% agree.
I might watch that one day. But anyway, Black
Yes,
Blade Runner.
Watch it.
Yes, so fun fact, I know I'm stealing Steph's fun facts, but we've officially surpassed the time of when Blade Runner was set.
Yes.
I think it was November 2019, so we've passed that. How cool is that?
And hopefully we'll get to see 2049 as well.
I hope so. Fingers crossed. We're all alive
But
by
also,
then.
I found out that when Daryl Hannah's fighting Deckard, it's actually Deckard fighting Deckard because it's his stunt double fighting Deckard because the stunt double that was for Daryl Hannah, she got too tired doing all the somersaults and all the acrobatic that they were just like, we'll just get Deckard in a wig.
Oh,
Fix
no
it in
way.
post. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
And I think you'll find that he fought Pris, not Daryl Hannah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Isn't they the same?
Well, yeah, she did play Pris, but it's just a different
Pris.
movie if he's there fighting Daryl Hannah.
There's Harrison Ford fighting Harrison Ford, who should have been Daryl Hannah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not Splash. But also, like, I have to make a note, about the music. That's one thing that did...
It was revolution when it came out. They actually got like an electronic music artist for this, and that's why it was so futuristic and so dystopian all at once. Like it was an actual, Anyway, that's what I have to say. on that.
Yeah, no, I just thought that also made the movie because even though I didn't really enjoy it, but the music helped me do it, like enjoy it.
Yeah.
And also like the scenery and stuff, like that was pretty, I must admit,
Impressive.
It's actually a really pretty movie for its time.
I don't even think for its time. I think it's a great movie. Looks great now compared to some of the crap that comes out.
It
Yeah,
does do
I
an
agree.
excellent job of world building. I have to say that.
Yeah. In the intro, so you have the beautiful music playing. It's very theatrical, and then the ship kind of goes across the Tyrell building, I think, at the beginning.
Yep.
Even that just looks stunning because, it's their attempt of trying to use CGI for that, and it just looked beautiful. It looked more impressive to me in that one than it did in the new one.
And I have to say, I was actually really confused with the storyline, and I was...
Yes, I was explaining to her in the shops beforehand.
No, I can understand that.
No, but like it's good because then if someone can hopefully this is what we're going to do with this podcast. If we can open your eyes to it, you might appreciate this form of art just by seeing someone else's opinion of it.
Well, I will admit, first few times I saw this when I was younger, I thought like all the replicants were bad. But as I've grown up, I realised they're not actually bad. They just wanted the same thing that all the humans have, and that's to live.
Yeah. Like even at the end, one of the most beautiful scenes with Roy, and he just wanted to be human.
Yep.
Or as the Tyrell Corporation, more human than human.
Yes.
Did anyone else pick up that there was maybe a little bit of queer coding happening with the replicants in the original Blade Runner?
No.
Okay, just me then.
Please explain.
Yes.
Explain.
So this is something that happens a lot in like movies from the 80s and the 90s where in order to make a villain seem somewhat weird or outside the norm, there are often little queer coding little moments.
You mean like
So-
it was like a little...
So being less
bit of-
than heterosexual as a way of further othering. And I thought that it was really interesting that they played with that a bit with the replicants to further establish why they were so different from the humans. Because in the original
Now I
Blade
think
Runner,
about
we
it,
don't know
yeah.
much about them.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it now, see if I can pick up on those points because I didn't really notice it.
There was a real big one where Roy kisses Deckard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. But then he kissed the corpse of Pris, which
He
was
just
gross.
likes kissing people, just like I like hugging people.
Yeah, maybe he does it because he doesn't quite understand the emotions behind it.
But even like Pris, her use of makeup and things like that, it's very different from what we see of any of the humans or even the most human-like replicant, who was Rachel.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
maybe that's her style, and it's a bit weird.
Well, I think it also, it's the future. Well, it's actually the past now. But I remember years ago, and we're talking years ago, back in school, they played with the idea of the animal representation. And she was very raccoon-like because she had the black line across her face and then the white, and then you had the snake and then the unicorn. But I think that all falls into the director's cut if you've watched that version.
We
Which I
got
did.
the final cut.
Yeah, which is, I think it's better. Like, you can't really watch the director's cut and then move on to 2049 because it
It was weird.
doesn't
Normally, when
really...
you get a director's cut, they're actually longer cuts in a movie. In this case, the director's cut was actually shorter.
Really? By
Yeah.
how much?
Oh, we're still talking like not like an hour or half an hour or anything. We're talking like 10 minutes. But yeah, it's just weird that it was
right.
actually a shorter cut than what it is. But yeah, we watched the final cut, which I think is what is now classified as the final cut.
Canon.
Yeah, they didn't, I have to admit, I didn't watch the final cut, but they don't allude to the unicorn origami in that one, do they?
They do.
That's
Yep.
the director. Oh, they do?
Yep.
Harrison Ford has his dream with the unicorn, and then
Yep.
we see him at the end with the little unicorn origami.
Okay, yeah, I thought that was only in the director's cut. But it just, that whole plot point there is kind of, it doesn't make sense for the next film,
Exactly, because it alludes that, yes, he is a replicant.
but you can't have the whole story point of the second one if they're both replicants.
No, I think
and
you
Rachel.
can. You very much can.
I actually
But
thought...
but the child's meant to be half human, half replicant.
Sorry,
So one of them has to be human.
in the original Blade Runner with the dream of the unicorn and then later the origami of the unicorn, I thought that represented a sort of underlying humanity, like there were certain ideals that were shared with everyone. Because a unicorn usually represents innocence, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. I didn't think of it like that.
I like the fact that we're just learning different
I
things.
know. You just got
Sorry.
to talk about it with different people.
And that's the thing, that everyone takes something different from these movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done a bit of art history, and unicorns are really, really interesting, especially from the Middle Ages onwards, because we see them as being a symbol of innocence, like only a virgin girl traditionally was allowed to touch a unicorn. Like that
Right.
was part of the symbolism behind them. But they were also seen as incredibly savage, vicious beasts who would kill.
Yep.
So it's that interesting duality. I thought that they were playing with that a little bit.
They do have a vicious weapon on top of their head.
And that's why they're the national symbol of Scotland, yes.
Of my
I was
people.
going to say, it's the national people of Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah, but after watching this and reading the book and all that, I've actually discovered sci-fi is not my jam. After watching a few other things, I like more sci-fi fantasy.
Well,
And I'm
you're
like,
allowed to be
yeah.
wrong.
No, I'm with you on this one. I don't always like sci-fi because I find it too convenient with technology. At least with magic, you know it's magic.
I agree. Again,
But you know what? You won't know this, but I have actually a fear that robots are going to come and snap one day. They're going to kill humanity. Like, I do have that hidden fear, but I'm so fascinated over the topic of androids, and it's something we don't have. But for years, and we've been questioning if we did create them, are they going to have a consciousness? You know, and we seem to have this massive argument already, and we haven't even got to that point of creating them.
but also you have a giant fear of that lady.
Oh my god, she's so pretty.
You know what's her name?
I don't know what the robot's name is called, but she's the one that got more rights in Saudi Arabia than human women do.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was the female robot that got created, and she has like the back of her head's open, so you can see all the units and stuff inside. She's just creepy, and I think one of the first things she said in an interview was, "How do you solve the world's problem?" And it was to eliminate half of the population.
Ah,
And
yes,
I'm like,
Sophia the
"Why are we
robot.
kept her alive?"
No,
Creepy.
I think the problem is what pushes technology a lot of the time is actually porn. No, it's actually true.
Yeah.
That's where VHS. That's why VHS won over betas and things like
Yep.
that. And so I can
And
actually
eventually they'll want like companion bots and
companion
things like
bots,
that.
and I
it's all
think
gonna come-
that's where the uprising will come from.
Yeah.
Abuse sex robots.
Yeah.
That's why you need to watch Years and Years, because you guys need to watch it as well. It's on SBS. It's all about how the world is going to end, and they've already made predictions and stuff, but they've got sex robots there, and this guy has a relationship, and it's just creepy AF. But I think I highly recommend if you should watch Years and Years.
I think that though these type of futures are going to be the most likely that where humanity is heading, and I think that's what makes it feels a bit more like it hits home because hopefully I'm dead by the time it happens.
That's what I always say. If there's any of these apocalypses like zombie or nuclear war, any of that, I just want to be one of the first ones to die.
Yep.
Because I don't know how to farm. I don't know how to build things. I won't have an Xbox. I want out.
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't be good in one either.
Can you tell me a little bit about why you liked it so much?
Why I did like it?
Yeah.
Young Harrison Ford.
That's it. You wanted a bit of perv on a young Harrison Ford.
I think we should just
A little bit.
Maybe we should get a different co-host.
No, I've heard so many good things about this movie, and everybody was like, "You're a sci-fi fantasy nerd, you would like it."
Maybe it was just hyped up too much.
I think it was hyped up too much, and there's a lot of dialogue and not enough pew pew shooting and all that kind of stuff. There wasn't enough of that for me.
Which is why I think, from sounds that you would have liked the sequel better then.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just think it's a really good concept of, it's a different side of life. They're androids. They've been created. They've been given all these human, I guess, emotion. Well, not really emotions, but they've just been given this life, and then we can take it away so easily. And it's just something that we as humans take for granted, and to see how far they will fight just to have a bit of that humanity and life. And it really shows you how disconnected we can be. And I like that concept.
It really got me thinking, about humanity and how we perceive, because it's empathy, that's the word. So it's all about how, like, to me, I got it as when they're doing the tests and stuff, if you're not empathetic, then you must be a robot.
Yeah, but it was also, I think they were looking for any emotional reaction that made your pupils dilate, which they then changed with Rachel, so that test just became useless.
Yeah, because so in the Blade Runner, they're actually chasing the escaped replicants that he's chasing down are actually Nexus 6, whereas actually Rachel was a Nexus 7. Now the Nexus 6 has had this built-in lifespan of 4 years. So basically, get created, and then it's go off do mining, or go off fight our war, and then there's just here. And then after 4 years, they die, and we sell you the new updated version.
See,
just like mobile phones.
But what I found really interesting there with your points, like you're talking about the empathy and almost like a disconnect that the humans had with the replicants, that they were seen as purely functional. However, I would argue that as humans, we pack bond like crazy. We bond with things that we, like, logically, evolutionarily speaking, we shouldn't. If you can show me someone who owns a Roomba who hasn't named the Roomba, I will be really surprised. Like, we domesticated dogs. They're our best friends.
Look at the relationship we have with our mobile phones as well.
Yeah, but I think the problem with that though is when they first came out, it was just to call each other, but now they've put so much of our everyday life, like our banking, like everything is inside that phone.
Who actually uses it for a phone anymore?
Exactly. So you're losing more than just a phone now, typically.
Yeah.
As opposed to, say, when the Nokias came out, it was just a phone and to play Snake.
Yes.
Well, think as well about, like, the voice assistants that you have. I don't want to say their names out loud because they tend to start chirping in our house and will join in the podcast. But if you say their names, it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm talking to an algorithm. You've mentally given it a bit of a personality.
Yeah.
So
this is actually something I actually think that should be built into a lot of these new devices is you don't say thank you to them, and it actually annoys me. And I think we should be saying thank you to these machines that will be ruling over us one day.
That's right.
Well,
please don't kill me when the first rising comes.
Well, speaking of that, so the vending machine at work, you can tap it and it gives it thing and it goes, "Here is your drink. Thank you." And I just go, "You're welcome." And everyone laughs at me. I'm like, no. If this machine ever comes to get me, it knows that I appreciate it.
Exactly.
So by that logic, if you had a replicant just, hanging around your house who does the cleaning or whatever, you'd probably treat it all right because it wouldn't be it. It would be a he or a her.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I definitely would too. I think when they're there all the time, it's almost like another person is there. I don't think I could ever look at it as this is just a machine.
Well jumping forward a
creepy.
bit, look at the relationship between what's his face, Ryan Gosling, and the other chick.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So maybe, does anyone else have anything to say on this one?
No, I think we're pretty much ready to move on to the sequel.
But Steph's going to ask, since you're the guests, Would you like to guess what it got on Rotten Tomatoes? No cheating.
Oh,
49%.
no.
So low. That's
It'd be a lot
heartbreaking.
higher. The reason why it'd be higher is because this came out before Rotten Tomatoes was a thing. So it would have been all reviews on it with people praising it because it's a great classic movie. So I think it's going to be in the 90s.
Also, Rotten Tomatoes does skew towards nerdy white men.
Yes.
So,
Blade
That's
Runner
2049.
got
That one.
90%. So, Luke, you were right.
Told you.
how about Blade Runner 2049? 78%.
Yeah, I'm going to guess probably about 82.
Close. 87%.
Yeah.
Talking about this morning, out of the two, I still think the original is better. I think the storyline is simple and it's just the basic question of, do androids have that consciousness? And I just think it was a good sci-fi film. And if anyone is watching the new season of Picard,
Oh, God, that's amazing.
Did you watch the most recent episode?
I don't think so, no. But
Oh gosh. Okay, we'll talk about that later.
yeah, that's a
Let's
different
move on to
conversation.
the next one. So, Officer K, a new Blade Runner for the Los Angeles Police Department, unearths a long-buried secret that has the potential to plunge what's left of society into chaos. So, this one was 35 years from the original.
Yeah.
So, it's quite a big gap to bring this sequel out. And to me, I feel like they brought it out because they just needed money and they couldn't think of their own story.
No, I actually have a theory. I feel that Harrison Ford is going back and making sequels to all of his movies, and once he's finished, he's going to retire. So we're going to have like Air Force 1 2 coming out
Air
regarding
Force 1
Henry. So just keep an eye out for that. That's my prediction.
Okay, that's a good theory, actually.
I hope that there's another Indiana Jones, though.
No, I think the Crystal Skull bombed, so they
the
wouldn't
Crystal Skull
do
was
that.
so
No,
poo-poo,
that's
but
in pre-production.
I'm hoping for a sequel
Really?
to Morning Glory. Rose McGowan was a delight.
I have
I've
no
never
idea what
seen
you're
that.
talking about.
It's another Harrison Ford movie.
Really? And maybe you're thinking of Air Force One, where he was like president or something?
Yes, he was the
Yeah.
president. Get off my plane.
And then wait, when his kids kidnapped, was that still Air Force One?
Oh, I don't know. They all sort of merge together for a lot of his movies.
See, now that Clint
Yeah.
Eastwood is super, super old, there's sort of an opening in the market for grizzled old man who's angry at the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel
That's
Harrison
pretty much-
Ford is pitching for that.
yes. Okay, let's move back to Blade Runner. Because we're getting sidetracked. So one point that I really loved about this one was in the first one, it goes into the whole premise of androids wanting more from life and living and just being human. But this one, it even goes into AIs and their potential of having a consciousness. So the artificial intelligence, Joy, that he has, she begins to start to want more in life. And I think that's interesting, like to bring that into the future.
That's also an interesting point because we see a lot about how men are living in the future, but not so much the women. Like in the Blade Runner 2049, we meet one alleged real girl who is also a prostitute, I think. That was a bit fuzzy, which is also really interesting because they hold up the ability to give birth as being one of, the most superpowers that anyone could have, and that's why all the replicants want it. But if she's a real girl who has that ability, why is it okay that she's a prostitute? Why is it not all Handmaid's Tale-y?
Yeah, I think it's just very, how do I put this politely without making it sound bad? They're the scraps that got left behind.
That's putting it politely.
So,
But like when you think about it, it's not a nice environment, I think, to be in. And that's why when you see or hear like even the slogans of going off world and moving to the off world, it's very propaganda. Like even in Total Recall, when they talk about going to Mars and stuff, they're trying to sell it to you to get out of there. And I think whoever stays behind, there's nothing really left there. The world's been destroyed. You've just got make money quick, sort of in bad areas.
So
You just get raised into that.
So you may as well have some joy wherever you can get it.
That's it.
But yeah, no, they do make it very clear to get off world. You sort of have to be healthy. Like it's not just I've got enough money I can go. It's you have to meet criteria. That's why in the first movie, James Sebastian can't go because he's got that disease where he's aging faster.
Yeah, and I think to have that ability, it's obviously to repopulate in other colonies.
Yeah, and also why would you take the scum with you?
That's right. Leave the scraps.
Yep.
Sorry, that that makes me sound really bad.
I'd probably get left behind.
But then it's also something weird, because so they're out there, they're creating all these replicants to go out and do these jobs, but then you actually look at the world that's on Earth, and there are just so many homeless, and it is a dirty place, whereas they're just creating people to go out and take these jobs, where you've got people who would probably have them, like the mining jobs.
Yeah.
And
But isn't the point like replicants are stronger or more intelligent or just better? Like they're literally designed for the jobs.
it's one thing I really don't understand. Why do you create them that they can eat, need sleep, and all of this stuff?
I've always had that
That's the
question.
thing.
Why are they created where they bleed and stuff? Like, I don't get that, or cry, or
Have memories.
I've always had that question.
The memories was something that they did explain, that they did that on purpose to sort of try and make them more human. Because I
And
think,
that's probably why then they eat and stuff.
I don't know if this
is
was in
to
the
make them more human.
book or in one of the versions of the movie, they actually do explain it. It's so when they weren't giving them memories, they were becoming more violent, faster, I believe.
Oh.
I think, or I'm making this up. I could be making this up, or I've mixed up another movie.
I think the eating thing might be literal biomechanics. Like that's the way they recharge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're not exactly sitting out in a field with a solar panel.
Oh yeah.
But you'd think though, if you were like Ghost in the Shell, she, if you ever watched the anime,
Yes.
like she just plugs back in. Wouldn't you build androids and replicants to just plug into a power board?
But she is a cyborg, so she's completely animatronic. Whereas these guys seem to be an actual mixture of flesh and metal, for lack of a better word. Like
Well, yeah, it's one of the things, like I think they're actually built from organic materials, because there is no, like, even when you're looking at Rachel's bones, they're not, well, spoiler,
Yeah, I thought that too. Yeah.
they're not metal,
No.
they're bones.
and even when we see that replicant being born, like they're coming out of the goop. Mm-hmm. A lot of goop.
Yeah, that was gross.
And that they bleed as well and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then everyone gets
That
all
was
biblical.
so. That was really like that made me feel so uncomfortable when it came out of the goop, and Jared Leto's character is like hugging it, and like I'm just like, it
Yeah,
needs a wash.
Are you
I think-
sure it wasn't just the fact it was Jared Leto?
Yeah, I will admit, that was the
Yeah.
one thing about the movie I did not like, and that was Jared Leto.
Oh my goodness, no way. I need to tell you something. I was watching Paradise PD the other day, and that they have an episode where Jesus comes in, and all these people are like, can I please have your autograph? Oh my goodness. So Jesus signs it, love Jesus, and they're like, you're Jesus. I thought you were Jared Leto.
Oh my god.
And it was hilarious.
Since we've diverted to Wallace, did you guys watch the 3 short clips that the director created? He sought out other directors to do these 3 short films to
No,
explain.
I just saw about them, though. That they're sort of set,
yeah.
like, before, like, I think one
Yeah,
of them
so
was set in, like,
after 2019, but before.
Yeah.
So he has a 6-minute short, and I actually think that should have been in the film. Like, it paints a better picture for Wallace of, like, his personality traits, because what it does is it shows you how he gets the approval to start manufacturing replicants again, because there was a ban on it.
Yeah, and that was quite a little bit. His character was, I think, a little bit confusing. I wasn't quite sure what his motivation was. It was
I think what happened was they cut a lot of his scenes because he did the Suicide Squad right after, and he didn't get obviously a very good feedback from that, so they cut some of his films. But that short with him in it explains a lot on his personality.
One thing that I wish they had have got the person they originally cast to play that character,
Which
David
was
Bowie.
who? No, that would have been amazing.
He passed away before, that's why they couldn't have him,
I
but
had
it was
no
originally meant to be
idea.
David Bowie. And you can see him in that role, and I think he would have done a much better job.
Yeah, I had no idea wow. I'm shook.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
But every time I saw Ryan Gosling, I just kept thinking of, he just reminded me of, what's his face from Breaking Bad? Jesse. And I was like, I'm not a huge fan of Ryan Gosling anyway, and I thought he was a bit boring.
I actually think he did really well. Like, when you pay attention to his facial expressions, it's easy to just be emotionless, but he didn't even twitch his eyes. He didn't even blink slightly. Like, he really did get that android feel. And then when he was having a crisis thinking, oh my gosh, am I actually a human? I think he did that very well.
Yeah, I honestly did think there were times where, like, you could see he was an android when it's like, forget what we've just discussed about, and his face does go completely blank.
Yeah.
And
it's just like in the original, when you see Rachel talk and stuff, she's very expressionless, and it's almost hypnotic to watch because you just don't know what she's thinking or feeling, or it's interesting.
this movie was too long for me.
It was very
Way
long.
too long.
It was. I think that's its one downside is it was incredibly long.
But to me, it was also predictable. I don't know if it was meant to be, but I was like, oh, it's either Ryan Gosling, and then as soon as he met the other one in the real daughter, I
memory
was like,
lady.
oh, yeah, I was like, hey, no, you're the daughter. I was like, cool. So the whole movie is about how he finally gets to meet his daughter.
No, the whole movie is because an android was able to. It was an actual
I know.
miracle that she could conceive and create life.
I know, and that's what
impossible.
they said at the beginning when he killed. I'm really bad with names. Dave Bautista's character.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm happy to die to keep this secret. I understood that, but I won't ever watch these again.
So I kind of wish there was more background on Wallace. There wasn't much in the original on Tyrell, but they at least gave you the sense that he was a god or a father to the androids, and they really didn't explore this much in the new one with Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did a bit in his cut scenes, but it was already a long film, and to have that added into it would just made it even worse.
The problem with Leto is he will go off script a lot
Yeah.
and just do his own thing, so that's why sometimes I think his stuff gets cut.
Yeah.
Because he's noted as being one of the main characters in the, like, when you look at him up on IMDb or whatever and you type Blade Runner in, but he didn't really have that much dialogue, and that's why I was like, oh, is this it?
It really ruined the character
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah, it was definitely lacking something there. I didn't really understand what he was trying to do.
Again, the music was pretty good in this one as well, and it was very beautiful.
Yeah, visually it was stunning.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a good way to use CGI and special effects. Like it really showcased what you can do with it. I did like the way they evolved the neon lights. So instead of it just being neon lights, which I love seeing neon lights in cities at night, but they just became literally walking advertisements. Like when they're walking through the streets and you just see these long glowing legs just walking through the people because
Yep.
it's just a big glowing advert.
Like when they lost power, what was that? I didn't really get an understanding of how that happened when they saw the big blackout that they had for 10 days, but they lost all data. Was that explained and I just missed it, or something I dreamt again?
Watch the anime. It explains the blackout. It's really interesting. So it was brought on by the replicants to show humans what would happen.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only 15 minutes, but it's done so beautiful. I actually think that is better than the 2049 film, and that's a 15-minute anime.
See, that annoys me. I shouldn't have to do homework
To watch a
Just
movie.
to
to watch
the
a
movie.
2-hour and 43-minute movie and still be told, unless you've read the entire extended universe, you're not going to get
Exactly. Yeah.
And when I saw that it was 2 hours and 43 minutes, I was just like, what? Maybe, no, I think this is lying. No,
And they cut so much.
They cut
2
so
hours.
much, and
Yeah.
I don't think there's much more you really could have cut from it. Yeah.
I have a question. What do you guys give the original Blade Runner out of 5?
5 movie reels.
Out of 5 movie reels?
2.
4.5.
I'm going to go 4.5.
I'm going to go 1.5.
Wow.
And what about the new one?
I'd give that a 4.
I go 4 as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's still good, just not as good as the original.
Yeah,
in
agreed.
terms of cinematography and score and music and all those fun things, it was amazing. In terms of actually gripping me, though,
Yep.
1.5.
Ooh.
Yep, I'm sticking with 1.5
I
as well.
think these films are films that either when they grab you, you love it. If you're not into it, it's just really crap for you.
And a very long time to wait for it to finish.
Well, let's move to our next section.
Nerdazon's Nerdy Notables. I don't think we'll ever say that and not laugh.
No. Okay, you would be super proud of me.
Okay.
I actually watched a horror film. Ever since Luke and Hannah and I were talking about Little Women with Florence Pugh.
That's not a horror movie.
No, I know it's not, but I kind of actually don't hate her as an actress.
She is amazing.
Yeah.
Was she the youngest sister?
She was Amy.
She was Amy.
Yeah, I'm really keen to see her in the new Black Widow film.
And I was like, okay, because me and my mates have a no-no list, and we also have an awesome list. So the no-no list has things
Which
like...
your no-no list is way wrong.
No, because it has like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a Serbian film.
Yeah, that one's a no-no.
That
But
one's
like
a
you
no-no.
have like The Exorcist, which is probably one of the best horror
Oh,
films ever.
no, but... Yeah, no, we've updated it now. But I watched Midsummer with Florence Pugh,
Yes.
that belongs on the no-no list.
Really?
Actually, I keep seeing posters, but I don't
it is
know what
creepy and gory, but
What's
it
the
was
plot? Like, what's
okay.
the...
So the plot is
Without obviously spoiling.
no, that's okay. So Florence Pugh has a boyfriend. He's a dick, and his mates go over to Switzerland for a ceremony, and that they have a good. They want to
I
have a
think
good time.
I think they're in Sweden. They're on an
Sweden,
island off the
sorry.
coast of Sweden.
Thank you. Thank you, and I'm the one who's actually watched it.
That's
like,
okay.
what's
It's just
that?
Switzerland's not really known for its islands or coastline.
Obviously, geography is not my thing either. So what happens is something terrible happens to Florence's character, Danny, and her boyfriend's like, why don't you just come with us? We'll have like a good time. And so they go over to Sweden. And it ends up being a cult, but it's creepy. There's some just utterly disturbing scenes, but it's great because in a horror film, it's not pitch black. It's not dark. It's completely daylight. It's daylight something like 20 hours a day. So things happen during the day. So yeah, it's creepy. It's done by the same guy who did Hereditary.
Oh yeah,
which I
still
haven't
seen that one yet. It
seen
didn't
that.
interest me.
But yes, it was very good, and I am on board with Florence Pugh now after seeing that.
I just have one last thing on Nerdy Notables before
What?
we have to wrap this up. And I don't know if you've seen it, but the season finale of Doctor Who? You haven't watched it,
Yes,
have
I
you?
have.
How awesome did the Mastermen look?
Oh my god, you mean the cyber
He called
lords?
them the Masters Men. They should have been called Cyberlords because it sounds right, but
Yeah.
I think he called them the Masters
Oh,
Men.
yeah.
They looked freaking epic with the
Yes.
Yeah. I waited for you to watch the final because you dragged it out.
Yes, it took me a little while because I was like, I'm not. I hated the first the first few episodes of this new season. Loved.
Yeah, it
and then I
picked up.
just meh.
I think he's a really great master. I liked him as the master. I think she just wasn't as good. But in the last part, just as they stopped the master, and then before she gets captured, she had a moment where she was back to what she was,
Yes.
like that happy tune,
But I
and
hate
it was better.
One thing that annoyed me more than anything in the whole entire world is that they've changed the storyline of the Doctor.
I know, again.
I know. And that's what annoyed me. Now she's got unlimited life, so now they can
continue going and milk it out for more money.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to talk to you about
Yes,
how
yes.
cool the Cybermen looked at the end.
That
the
was
Cyberlords.
epic.
I
And when
know.
the
I
silver
got
turned
like goosebumps.
into
I'm
the
like, fuck.
and when this Cyberman, the Cyber Liquid turned into a Cyberman himself, the master, I was like,
It was really cool.
it was cool. Except I think one of the companions needed to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
just
think I'm over the companions now too.
Yeah.
But so we probably would have to wrap up the notables there.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell everyone what we're doing
All right,
next
so
month?
next week, back to my choice. We're doing Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the Swedish film versus the American film. So start watching those movies.
And Luke, what are we doing for next week?
I will just babble some stuff about video games that I normally do. And
Sounds
probably give
good.
away a game again.
All right. Well, we'd like to thank Luke and Hannah for
joining us this
joining
month.
us. If you like us, please follow us on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And where can we find you guys?
You can find us everywhere. So I'm on 2 podcasts. I have Multiple Nerdgasm and Save File.
And the podcasts themselves can be found on iTunes, Spotify, Audible, pretty much everywhere, I think.
Yeah, pretty much anyway. iHeart.
And also straight from the Multiple Nerdgasm webpage itself.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. Be sure to check them out, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
We will see everyone next month.
Bye.
Bye.